What if everything you were taught about emotion was incomplete? People tell you to always be kind, always be vulnerable, always lead with your heart. But many people eventually discover that without discernment, those qualities can leave them exposed to disappointment, manipulation, and betrayal. Now here is the deeper truth most people avoid discussing. Real power does not come from becoming emotionless. It comes from becoming emotionally disciplined. Niccolò Machiavelli explored this idea repeatedly in The Prince. He was not writing a guide about kindness or morality. He was studying power, strategy, and survival in unstable environments. One of his most famous arguments was that a ruler who depends entirely on being loved becomes vulnerable the moment public opinion changes. Love can be conditional. Approval can disappear. People often support you only while you continue serving their interests. Fear, however, creates caution, and caution influences behavior. But there is an important distinction many people miss. Machiavelli was not encouraging cruelty for its own sake. He was describing how power operates when human beings are driven by self-interest, ambition, and survival. The strongest people are not people who feel nothing. They are people who can feel emotion without becoming controlled by it. Anger without discipline becomes recklessness. Fear without control becomes paralysis. Attachment without awareness becomes dependency. And vulnerability without boundaries becomes exploitation. The goal is not to destroy your emotions. The goal is to stop surrendering your judgment to them. Because the moment another person can fully control your emotions, they begin controlling your decisions. How many times have you hesitated because of guilt? How many times have you let someone disrespect you because you didn't want to overreact? How many times have you swallowed your anger, buried your instincts, softened your edge? And what did it cost you? Respect, influence, power. That's what emotion steals from you. Machiavelli writes, "A man who wants to act virtuously in every way necessarily comes to grief among so many who are not virtuous." Translation: if you try to be good in a world that isn't, you will be crushed. You don't live in a fair world. You live in a world of predators and prey. So pick a side you want to rule, then numb the heart. He says, a prince must learn how not to be good, not because you must always be cruel, but because goodness is only useful when it serves your goals, not when it serves your guilt. Your strategy must be cold, objective, calculated. This is what separates rulers from servants. Leaders act, followers react. And what causes reaction? Emotion. People governed by their feelings can be manipulated, provoked, thrown off balance. But the one who feels nothing controls everything. He writes, "It is much safer to be feared than loved if one must choose. Because love is based on what you give, fear is based on what you could take. People love you when it's easy. They fear you even when they hate you. Fear builds stability, predictability, obedience. Love builds expectation, and expectations always end in disappointment. That's why advice is brutally clear. Appear kind, appear generous, but never become these things. You must be two people, the illusion and the operator. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. And what you really are must be untouchable, detached, controlled, steel underneath the smile. Because people are watching, waiting, testing. And when they see emotion, they see a crack in the armor. That's how they get in. They push guilt. They trigger doubt. They use empathy as a weapon. So what do? You cut it out. You destroy the inner weakness before the world exploits it. Men should be either treated generously or destroyed because they take revenge for slight injuries. For heavy ones, they cannot. You think showing mercy will make people loyal. Number, it gives them time. Time to regroup, time to resent you, time to come back stronger. But total domination, that ends the story. Your enemy cannot recover if you don't let him breathe. This is what emotionless control looks like. Not anger, not violence. Just clean, decisive, unshakable action. Detach from the outcome. Focus on the power. Empathy is a luxury. Mercy is a strategy. But emotion is a liability. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Your word is only as good as its usefulness. If a promise made yesterday weakens your position today, break it. Control isn't built on integrity, it's built on leverage. And here's the final warning for now. The people around you, they don't care about your feelings. They care about what you can offer, what you can give, what they can take. And the moment your emotion clouds your vision, they will take everything. So don't give them the chance. Burn the weakness, silence the guilt, kill the feeling. Let others be ruled by their hearts. You will rule with your mind. This is only the beginning. This is how power begins. Emotionless, focused, untouchable. You're not here to feel. You're here to conquer. Before we continue, I want you to do two things. 1, comment below. Tell me, do you believe emotional control is the key to power? Or do you still think feeling deeply is strength? I read every comment. I want to know who's awake and who's still asleep. 2. Check the pinned comment and video description. My new ebook, Guided by the Great, A Path to Self-Growth, is now out. This isn't some soft self-help fluff. It's real philosophy, hard truths, and timeless tactics, straight from history's most dangerous minds. If you're ready to transform, start there. Now, back to what you came for. In part 1, you learned the first principle, kill the feeling. In this part, you learn what comes next, become the mask. Machiavelli didn't just teach rulers how to hold power. He taught them how to wear power convincingly, invisibly. Because raw control isn't enough. You must disguise it. A prince must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. The lion uses force. The fox uses deception. You need both, but the fox lives longer. Because power that's visible is vulnerable, but power that hides behind a smile, untouchable. This is why you must become the mask. You don't show emotion, you simulate it. You don't act with kindness. You perform it only when it serves you. The vulgar crowd always is taken by appearances, and the world is composed of the vulgar. Most people don't see truth. They see surfaces. So give them a surface they can't see through, a character they believe. Smile when necessary. Laugh on cue. Appear generous. Appear just. Appear calm. But inside you remain cold, observing, calculating. This is how you build influence without resistance. The world punishes honesty. It rewards illusion. Machiavelli knew, if people see the sword in your hand, they fear you. But if they see an open hand, they follow you. The art is this. Carry the sword behind your back and know exactly when to draw it. Niccolò Machiavelli argued that appearances often shape power more than intentions do. In The Prince, he wrote that a ruler does not necessarily need to possess every virtue, but must appear to possess them convincingly. His point was not simply about deception. It was about understanding that public perception heavily influences authority, trust, and survival. But there is an important difference between strategic composure and losing your humanity. Emotional discipline is powerful. Emotional suppression can become destructive. The strongest individuals are not people who feel nothing. They are people who do not let emotions control every action, every reaction, or every decision. They maintain composure under pressure. They stay measured when others become chaotic. They avoid revealing every fear, doubt, or insecurity to people who may misuse that information. Because emotions do expose vulnerability when expressed carelessly. Anger can expose impulsiveness. Fear can expose uncertainty. Desperation can expose dependence. And uncontrolled reactions often encourage others to test your boundaries further. That is why self-control matters. Control begins in your face, your tone, your posture, your ability to remain steady when tension rises. You may feel intense emotions internally, but externally, you remain calm, deliberate, and difficult to destabilize. Machiavelli summarized this idea clearly. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. And that insight explains why composed people often appear powerful, not because they are fake, but because they understand that not every thought, emotion, or weakness needs to be placed in public view. Because people don't resist what they admire. They resist what they fear openly, but they submit to what they trust. So become what they trust. Wear the mask of virtue, but be prepared to strike like a serpent when the moment comes. And here's the dangerous part. Eventually, you'll forget where the mask ends and where you begin. Good. That's when you know it's working. You are not faking anymore. You've become the mask. No tells, no slips, no hesitation. You've buried your old self, the one who cared what people thought, the one who felt too much, the one who needed approval. That self is gone. Now you play your role with precision, because the true Machiavellian doesn't seek truth. He uses truth, distorts it, sells it to get what he wants. Do you understand the power in that? The ability to make people believe you're the good guy while you reshape the world around them. That's more powerful than brute strength. It's what kings do. So stop playing fair. Let others be honest. Let them cry. Let them confess. You smile, you nod, you act. And when the mask is perfect, no one even sees the blade in your hand. You must become untouchable, emotionless, invisible behind the mask. Control doesn't come from showing power. It comes from never needing to. This is the second step to domination. Master the illusion. Control the perception. Conceal the intent. And when the time is right, strike. Now drop a comment. Do you wear the mask, or does the mask wear you? And don't forget, the next chapter of your transformation is in my ebook, Guided by the Greats, A Path to Self-Growth. The link is pinned and in the description if you want the mindset of Machiavelli, Marcus Aurelius, and Sun Tzu distilled into power you can use now. You want to win, but something inside you still whispers, "Is this right?" That voice, kill it, because guilt is a leash, and those who feel guilt serve those who don't. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this before most ever realized it. In the actions of men, especially of princes, the end justifies the means. Read it again. Not feelings, not intentions, not morals. The end, the result, is all that matters. History doesn't remember kind men. It remembers kings. It remembers those who took action, not those who hesitated. To hesitate is to die. So let's get one thing clear. If you're still clinging to the illusion that being good will protect you, you are prey. People do not respect kindness, they use it. They do not admire fairness, they exploit it. Your compassion is their opportunity. Your mercy is their entrance. Your guilt is their weapon. Machiavelli wrote, "A man who strives after goodness in all his acts is sure to come to ruin, since there are so many men who are not good." So ask yourself, why are you holding yourself to a moral code that no one else is following? Why are you playing by rules that were designed to keep you tame? The truth is brutal but freeing. Guilt is not a sign of goodness. It's a sign of control. It's been injected into you to stop you from acting in your own interest. Every time you hesitate to make a move that benefits you, ask, whose voice is in my head? Whose approval am I still chasing? The answer is never your own. That's how you've been disarmed. Because the man who moves with guilt is predictable. He can be manipulated. He can be paused. He can be stopped. But the man who feels nothing but the cold clarity of strategy, is unstoppable. This is how the greats operated. Behind every throne, every empire, every legend was a man who understood this. Morality is flexible. Power is not. You don't succeed by being liked. You succeed by being in control. And when you're in control, they'll call you evil until they need you, until they're under you. Then suddenly, your coldness is called strength. Your ruthlessness becomes leadership. You must learn this. It is much safer to be feared than loved when one of the two must be lacking. Love is a fragile currency. It depends on others. It fades. It turns. It betrays. Fear? Fear lasts. Fear forces respect even from your enemies. Fear keeps people obedient even when they resent you. And if you're smart, if you apply the mask from part 2, they won't even know they fear you. They'll just know they can't cross you because there's something in your silence that unsettles them. Something in your eyes that warns them. I will not feel bad for doing what's necessary. This is your evolution. Most people are too weak to manipulate others because they still care too much. They want to be liked. They want to be good. And in that desire, they surrender control. They become honest when they should lie. They show mercy when they should strike. They expose feelings that should have been locked away and buried. You must do the opposite. You must move like shadow. Use guilt as a weapon, not a weakness. Plant it in others, never in yourself. Make them feel bad for doubting you. Make them apologize for questioning your actions. Make them wonder if they are the problem. This is highlight influence. This is silent domination. Because once you control someone's guilt, you control their decisions. You control their thoughts. You control them. This is how Machiavellian rulers outmaneuver stronger enemies. They don't fight with fists. They fight with perception. If you can bend a man's reality, you never need to touch him. And the greatest lie you can sell is this: I am the one who's doing what's best for you, while you're doing what's best for you. No guilt, no regret, only outcomes. That is what separates the powerful from the powerless. The powerful sleep well, not because they were righteous, but because they won. Because they understand what you're now learning. Guilt is not truth. Guilt is a trick. It's time to reject it. You will no longer apologize for being strategic. You will no longer hesitate to do what benefits you. You will no longer feel bad for using truth or lies if the outcome is power. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be obeyed. This is the third transformation. Feel no guilt. Play no fair game. Win silently. Win always. They can't attack what they can't see. They can't destroy what they can't define. Power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers or doesn't speak at all. Machiavelli said, "A wise man does at once what a fool does at last." The fool announces, brags, posts. He talks before he moves. Niccolò Machiavelli repeatedly emphasized the importance of strategy, timing, and restraint. Someone who reveals every plan too early often destroys their own advantage before they even begin. The person who constantly announces every move, every ambition, and every intention gives others time to interfere, criticize, compete, or prepare against them. But the disciplined person moves differently. They work quietly. They build consistently. And often, people only recognize the result after it already exists. There is wisdom in learning how to move with less noise and more focus. Because talking does not automatically prove confidence. In many situations, excessive talking reveals insecurity, impulsiveness, or the need for validation. The more information you reveal carelessly, the more material others have to analyze, misunderstand, or use against you. That does not mean becoming deceptive or manipulative. It means becoming intentional. Strategic people understand an important paradox. You do not need to constantly advertise your strength for it to exist. Many powerful individuals appear calm, ordinary, even underestimated. And that underestimation becomes an advantage because people fail to prepare for them seriously. When others expect nothing from you, they often become careless. And quiet consistency becomes more effective than loud self-promotion. The goal is not domination over everyone around you. The goal is self-mastery. To stay composed while others seek attention. To stay focused while others waste energy proving themselves. And to let your results speak louder than your announcements ever could. And that gives you the freedom to strike at will. Machiavelli understood this deeply. In The Prince, he writes, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. What are you? You are strategy disguised as stillness. You are fire behind cold eyes. You are the storm inside a calm breeze. Understand this. Loud men start fights. Quiet men finish them. And when you live in silence, you gain two deadly advantages. You can observe everyone. While they're busy talking, you're watching their weaknesses, their pride, their tells. You see it all. Because silence isn't passive, it's predatory. You can move without resistance. When no one knows your plan, no one can block it. When they don't expect you to rise, they leave the throne unguarded. Machiavelli wasn't obsessed with violence. He was obsessed with control. And silence is control. In silence, you choose what to reveal, what to hide, what to suggest. You speak in fragments. Let them fill in the blanks. Let them project. Let them assume. And then use their assumptions as a weapon. Remember this. A lie believed is stronger than a truth explained. You don't owe explanations. You owe results. They ask, what's he planning? Why did he do that? What's going on in his head? Let them guess. Let them stress. That's psychological warfare. That's dominance without conflict. Even Machiavelli advised rulers to appear virtuous, generous, and kind, even if they were cold, ruthless, and calculating underneath. Why? Because it keeps the enemies asleep until you strike, until you remove them without warning, without noise, without a scene. Victory and silence is the cleanest kind. No arguments, no debates, just consequences. Because by the time they understand your plan, you're already on to the next move. This is how kings rise in plain sight. No drama, no outbursts, just quiet execution. No need to threaten, no need to announce, because your silence becomes the threat. They start to fear what they don't know about you. That fear is your armor. That fear makes you untouchable. And this is what you must become. A ghost with a goal, a shadow with a strategy, an absence that still commands respect. People want attention. You want control. Let them chase noise. You chase power. Every loudmouth digs their own grave. But you're already writing the future, one silent decision at a time. Because there's nothing more terrifying than a man who moves and says nothing, a man who smiles and means nothing, a man who listens but gives nothing away. That's how you win. Control the silence. Then, when it's time, break it with force. No warning, no buildup, just a move so precise, so unexpected, they never recover. And you vanish again. This is your fourth transformation. Be unreadable, be unshakable, be unseen. Move in silence, leave no trace, control without words. You've learned to silence your emotions. You've mastered control over your feelings, your actions, your presence. You've become a shadow that strikes without warning. Now it's time to take the last step, to become more than a player in the game, to become the game itself. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. In The Prince, he said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Love is a weakness. Love demands loyalty. Love demands vulnerability. Fear demands respect. Fear demands obedience. Fear keeps your enemies guessing, your allies loyal, and yourself in control. But beware, fear without control is chaos. Fear without discipline is self-destruction. You must become the master of both, fear and discipline. The man who feels nothing, who suppresses emotion, gains clarity, not numbness. He sees through deception, through chaos, through distractions. He is like a blade, sharp, cold, unyielding. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise ruler ought never to keep faith when by doing so it would be against his interests. You do not bind yourself to the chains of sentimentality. Your allegiance is only to power and results. This is not cruelty. This is survival. This is sovereignty." When you feel nothing, you become immune to manipulation. No praise can inflate you. No insult can deflate you. You are a fortress, impenetrable, untouchable. Now look inward. Who are you really? Are you the man controlled by every passing emotion? Or are you the man who controls every passing moment? The answer is the difference between a ruler and a subject. Your emotions are tools, not masters. They are flames to be harnessed, not wildfires to consume. To feel nothing does not mean to become a shell. It means to become the ocean. Calm on the surface, immense beneath. Capable of storms, controlled, powerful storms. You are the ruler of your domain, your mind, your body, your world. You do not break. Niccolò Machiavelli used the metaphor of the fox and the lion to explain a balanced form of strength. The lion represents force, courage, and visible power. The fox represents awareness, adaptability, and the ability to recognize danger before it arrives. His argument was that survival requires both qualities together. Strength without awareness becomes reckless. Awareness without strength becomes fragile. Real power comes from combining intelligence with discipline. But becoming untouchable does not mean becoming emotionless, cruel, or disconnected from humanity. It means developing enough self-control that chaos around you no longer dictates your behavior. You do not collapse every time life becomes difficult. You do not react impulsively to every insult, betrayal, or challenge. You remain steady, composed, intentional. True strength is often quiet. It does not constantly seek validation or attention. It does not beg for approval. It builds itself patiently through discipline, consistency, and emotional control. That is why self-mastery matters more than dominance over others. Discipline over impulse. Clarity over confusion. Control over chaos. The world is filled with people who react instantly to every emotion, every provocation, every fear. And uncontrolled emotion often leads people into avoidable mistakes. But emotional discipline allows pain to become information instead of destruction. It allows setbacks to become lessons instead of identities. It allows pressure to sharpen you instead of break you. You do not need to stop feeling pain. You need to stop letting pain control the direction of your life. Because the strongest people are not those who feel nothing. They are the ones who can feel deeply while still choosing their actions consciously. You are the tide itself, unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable. You have become the embodiment of Machiavellian power, the cold, calculated force behind every move. The man who feels nothing controls everything. And that is the ultimate victory.